PulseChain is not launched yet, but it might cause some issues down the road for many investors, and I specifically talk about Hex. Hex is Richard Hart's first project and it's pretty much the reason for all this to be started, as the gas fees on Ethereum went through the roof in the last bull run, and people were literally paying more to end their stake than the actual interest they earned through staking. So the whole idea behind PulseChain is to have significantly lower transaction fees and increase the transaction speed so his community can enjoy better experience while making more money. But the plan doesn't end up here. He is also building a decentralized exchange called PulseX, where you can trade all ERC20 tokens that will be copied over to PulseChain once it's launched, which will be called PRC20s. Apart from that, in one of his live streams, he said that he is expecting stablecoins like USDT and USDC to launch on PulseChain as well, so they can create stability.
So originally, to get stability out of Pulse when it originally launches, you're going to need to use bridged-in stables. However, stablecoin creators tend to launch on multiple chains. You've got Tether, which is called USDT, on TRX and on Matic and on Ethereum.
Yeah.
You know, you've got it on a lot of different networks because what do they care? It's new users for them. Until I have the time to create my own stablecoin, I would like to see the existing stablecoin issuers support PulseChain when it launches.
So we can expect a stablecoin from Richard Hart in the near future on PulseChain, and he also said many times that he wants to create his own crypto wallet. All we have at the moment is a testnet version of the blockchain, but if he fulfills everything he is promising, we will see a whole new and independent ecosystem. How many people will be triggered to invest in any of the projects that will be copied over apart from those that Richard Hart created is a subject for another video, but along with all ERC20 tokens, Hex will also be copied to the PulseChain side. So which one I should invest into? The one on the Ethereum side or the one on the PulseChain side? Well, probably everyone will ask themselves the same question. It will be so much easier if Hex remains only on Ethereum or just transferred to PulseChain and removed from Ethereum. But of course there's no way this can happen. So if you staked your Hex already for a couple of years, your money is just stuck in there and you can't pull them out unless you served enough days to end your stake without losing your initial amount of tokens you have put in. Of course I only talk about possibilities and not what I suggest you to do. So if you are from those people who stake their Hex and you can't unstake because you're gonna lose too much, you gotta just sit there, wait and hope for the best. I think there's a decent chance Hex to reach its previous all-time high, so even if you bought the top, you will be able to sell on profit because of the APY you are getting. Of course this might seem a very bearish or pessimistic take on the Hex price prediction, but just bear with me, it will start to make sense when I explain everything in a minute. So Hex price is around 40 cents right now, and considering how terrible the economy looks, with a non-stop raising inflation rates and interest rates respectively, many people including myself think that the macro will remain bad at least till the rest of the year, which automatically means lower prices not just in Hex or in the crypto space, but in all markets as well. Of course we can't say that for sure, but there is a much higher chance for this to happen rather than the economy to start slowly recovering in the next month or two and people jumping back on the risk-on assets. So with that in mind, we can assume that Hex will continue to go lower, and let's say the bottom is sub 1 cent, around 0.007 for example, which by the way will be a pretty brutal pullback of around 99% from the top. So I don't know how likely is this, but let's say this is the worst case scenario. So that would be 6x if the price goes back to this current level, and around 74x if it goes back to its previous all-time high. So not bad at all, right? But how likely is Hex to make another 10,000x in the next bull run? If we assume again the bottom is 0.007, the price has to go all the way up to $70 in order to make 10,000x. If the bottom is 1 cent, 10,000x will put the price at $100. So how likely is this to happen? If we take the potential worst case scenario of 0.007 to be the bottom, so $70 will represent 10,000x gains. If I measure from the top, which is around 50 cents, and go all the way up to $70, this will be around 135x move to the upside. So to get some perspective and see how likely is this to happen, I will pull up the Bitcoin chart because it's the best performing asset by far, making almost 7 million x in 11 years, and we can say that Hex serves the same purpose as Bitcoin, or how Richard Hart is saying, a better version of Bitcoin, so we can get a good perspective on the upside potential of Hex in the next bull run. If I go back to the 2013 bull market, because back in the day Bitcoin was much more volatile and it will give us more accurate data to work with, and I measure from the top of this cycle to the top of the next cycle in 2017, we can see that Bitcoin gained around 1600% or around 17x. So the best performing asset in its early days, from top to top, it made a 17x move. So if I go back to the Hex chart, we can see straight away that this 135x doesn't look realistic at all. If I measure 17x from the top, we need to reach almost $9, right? But that is a huge move, and frankly, I can't see this happening. If we have to get something more realistic for the best case scenario, I'm also gonna look at Ethereum's chart, because Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency and it was basically an innovation, so it's not a bad idea to look at it as an exception. So if I measure the gains of Ethereum from its launch of 31 cents to the top of its first cycle, we can see that it did almost half of the gains that Hex did. And if I measure from the 2017 top, actually Ethereum peaked in 2018, but this doesn't matter. So if I measure from the top to the top of the next bull market in 2021, we can see that this is a very modest 3.5x. That's significantly lower than Bitcoin's top to top gains. So if I go back again to the Hex chart and take into consideration everything that we found so far, I think a very reasonable best case scenario price prediction could be around 5 to 6x. So 5 to 6x from the top will represent around $3. I'm gonna draw a line at $3, and now if I measure from the current prices from around 4 cents to around $3, that's 70x, right? Not bad at all. However, we said that a potential worst case scenario for the bottom of Hex could be 0.007. So if I measure from the worst case scenario to the best case scenario, which I think both are pretty much in the realistic range also, we can see that this move will represent 400x more or less. So this is like the most you can get, sort of speak. If we drop to these very low levels, which will be around 99% drop from the all-time high and around 500% or 6x to the upside from the all-time high again. So this is pretty much the realistic range you could expect from Hex for the next couple of years, in my opinion. However, this is what I would expect if things remain as they are right now, or in other words, if we don't have a second Hex. So in this case, I don't know if we can say that even half of this can be achieved because of that, and that we can reach $1.50, and that's why I said in the beginning that I think Hex might reach its previous all-time high, because I think this is more realistic ceiling considering the existing of another Hex. I think many people won't be happy with me saying this, and specifically people who already invested in the project at around 10-15 cents range right here, and people who staked for a couple of years, but this is what my personal expectations are. That's just how I see it. I cannot see Hex on the Ethereum side performing incredibly well, while we have Hex on the PulseChain side with transaction fees close to 1 cent. And not only that, people stake their Hex for 5, 10 or 15 years because they believe in Richard Hart. So he's gonna have his own blockchain where everything will be in one place and making a whole ecosystem, and Hex will also be there getting the eyeballs from all these people who will be participating within the ecosystem. Hex doesn't have a roadmap because Richard Hart said many times that Hex is a finished product and there's nothing else to be added or improved, so we don't have to expect any updates or anything exciting coming up for Hex in the future. So his main focus will be on PulseChain. He wants to make his own stablecoin, he wants to make a crypto wallet that will have a token and it will be launched in the same sacrificing style. He said once that he will probably make his own coin tracker, and there could be potentially many other things that he's going to do. So all the improvements and development will be happening on PulseChain, and I simply don't see any reason for people to prefer investing in Hex on the Ethereum side over the one on the PulseChain side. Moreover, people invest in general to make money, especially in crypto. So we have so much money already invested in the original Hex, and we will have nothing invested on the other one on the PulseChain side. So everyone will get their tokens transferred over to PulseChain, but no real money will be attached to this transfer. So this looks very similar to the original Hex launch, where Bitcoin holders could claim Hex for free, and Hex basically did 10,000x. Now we saw that 10,000x or even close to this is pretty much impossible, but Hex on the PulseChain side is essentially launching Hex once again from scratch. So since the current amount of money in the original Hex holds the price of around 4 cents, that means you need more money to come in order for the price to go higher, right? But what if some of this money that is already in moves over to PHEX, or in other words, people sell their eHex and put the money into PHEX. Without additional money coming into the market, the price will move significantly to the upside, right? So people who want to make those ridiculous gains by investing early in an already proven project, in my opinion, will definitely jump on this opportunity. Hex stakers also have an incentive to stake on the PulseChain side because of the low fees. So if we take into account the low fees for the stakers, the significantly higher potential price appreciation, and the fact that PHEX will not be some kind of outsider and will be directly within Richard Hart's ecosystem, I just don't see any big incentive people to prefer to put their money into the original Hex over to the new Hex. So that's why I don't expect anything crazy from eHex, and that's my argument. If I'm missing something very bullish for eHex, that could make my predictions completely off. I don't claim that I know everything and that I'm always right, so share with me down in the comments if you think I didn't include something. But apart from that, I wanted to address two other things in this video that I'm really disappointed about. The first thing is, 1 month ago, on June 28th, Richard Hart tweeted that they figured out a way to count the sacrifices for the people who sucked directly from exchanges. He added to this tweet that he will make the tool public probably next week. Well, it's been exactly 1 month now, and I think Richard Hart is getting a bit sloppy with his time frames, and almost anything that he promised in the past year just doesn't happen on time. This really makes me trust him less when he announces the next launch date for PulseChain or anything else. And if you say now, but he said probably next week, he didn't say next week. Well, probably next week to me sounds like in 1 or 2 weeks, 3 at max. But it's been 4 weeks now, and since then, we didn't get any updates on this topic whatsoever. He didn't tweet anything about this anymore, and he didn't say a word about this in his live streams. So to me personally, this is really disappointing. Also, one more thing I wanted to mention is the insane increase of wallets that hold Hex on the official Hex website. Basically, 3 weeks ago in this video, I was showing the Hex stats and I noticed that the holders from 470,000-ish were now over 8 million in 1 day. 1 week later, I asked in this video if someone can get in touch with Richard Hart so he can fix it, because I thought this is just a glitch on that particular day. However, the wallets kept increasing every single day since then, and I'm not sure if actual fake wallets have been created in reality or just these numbers are pumping without anything backing it up. But in both cases, I definitely cannot say that I like it. Now, I realize that Hexicans won't be so happy about this video overall, but I share the facts as they are, no matter if they're positive or negative. Why nobody's talking about this? I didn't see anyone talking about this artificially inflated number of holders, and this delay of the tool that was supposed to be already public 3 weeks ago. Why everybody stays quiet about this? Where are the questions? Why nobody's asking? I have no idea. Probably because this doesn't drive the price up, right? That's why when I say something like this, there are so many people bashing me in the comments, saying that I didn't pass the Hex IQ test and all these other funny phrases. But I'm here informing you about everything that is happening, and I don't hide something that I don't like. I try to stay unbiased from day one, and I won't be sitting here and talking to you about how much money you can make in this project and in that project. You can find these moon talks in many other channels, but I focus on providing as many different perspectives as possible and analyzing as much information as I can, so everything that I say on my channel is actually helpful and give you the full picture rather than trying to pump my backs as much as I can. A couple of days ago, I posted this video in which I spent 2 days doing on-chain analysis to check if there's anything suspicious about the top 3 wallets that sacrificed for PulseChain, because these are the biggest whales and it's good to know as much information as possible about them. How centralized will be the supply? Do they have something in common? What to expect in general and all that. I went very deep in my research and I didn't find anything crazy that we can say is a huge red flag, something to warn you about, and something that we can consider is bad for the project. I shared all that with you, and I didn't keep that information for me because I didn't find anything bad. I researched different aspects and I don't separate the information on good and bad, so I can share only the bad one and hurt the project. My purpose is to provide you with as much information as possible and help you with your risk management. If you think I'm here just spreading FUD about PulseChain or Hex or whatever, talking complete nonsense, I think you just haven't watched all of my videos because I've proven otherwise. But anyway, if you like the content and you appreciate the work that goes into making a video like this, it will be very much appreciated if you give the like button a gentle tap to support my channel. If you wanna stay in the loop and see the next time I upload a new video, consider subscribing to my channel as well. I won't charge you for that. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.